But first, here at 5:30, Republicans in Washington are weighing billions of dollars in cuts to Medicaid.
And as they do, those potentially impacted are beginning to brace for what that could mean for them. And that includes some of the 80 million Americans who receive benefits and states like Ohio, where benefits were expanded a decade ago.
News 5's John Kosick has been following concerns about Medicaid for years, and tonight he brings us the latest debate.
The nation's Medicaid program, with its $880 billion budget, is an attractive target for Republican lawmakers in Washington looking for places to slash spending. Its programs impact around 80 million U.S. adults and children, including nearly 3 million Ohioans, like Brianna Springer of Parma.
I have caregivers 22 hours every single day, and they help me with all of my daily living activities.
Brianna was born without her legs and her right arm. We first introduced you to her in 2009 when she was involved in an adapted aquatic swim program.
They should learn how to swim because it gives you more strength.
Swimming was a passion she would pursue for years. A Medicaid waiver provides Brianna with the caregivers that allow her to live independently, something she fears would be in jeopardy if Medicaid's budget is cut.
I would not be able to live on my own anymore, which is something that I've worked really hard to achieve.
She's not alone. How many people in Cuyahoga County rely on Medicaid waivers like Brianna's?
Well, we have at the county board about 5,500 people that rely on Medicaid waivers, but there are a lot of other people that we serve that rely on Medicaid other services.
That's why the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disability says any cuts would be devastating and are urging people to contact their lawmakers to make them aware of that.
Let them know that these cuts are unacceptable, that there needs to be another way to find money in the budget if we need to do that, and to please help us protect these Medicaid benefits for our most vulnerable citizens.
There's another twist to all this. You'll remember Ohio Governor John Kasich expanded Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act in 2013. The agreement was the federal government would eventually pay 90% of the costs and the state the other 10. It was a move that added more than 700,000 Ohioans to the rolls of the insured. Governor DeWine was among those opposed to the expansion as Attorney General, but admitted to me in 2018 when he was running for governor, it was a bell too big to unring, and he would keep it.
We will keep Medicaid expansion. We want to make it sustainable in case, for example, the federal government decides instead of paying 90+%, that they're going to drop that down to a much lower figure.
Well, along those lines, DeWine put a clause in the just-released state budget proposal that states if Congress decides to pay less than the 90%, the state would immediately discontinue all medical assistance for those extra 700,000 covered under that Medicaid expansion. Now, at this stage, nothing is set in stone, and some on the far right, like former Trump advisor Steve Bannon, have warned Republicans to be careful with Medicaid, as it's a program relied on by many MAGA voters, with the president himself challenging GOP lawmakers this month to balance the budget, yes, but
don't touch Social Security, don't touch Medicare, Medicaid, just leave them alone.
In Cleveland, John Kosick, News 5.
Elon Musk and the Department of Governmental Efficiency are zeroing in on several federal agencies.
The Social Security Administration's top official resigned after clashing with DOJ employees who were looking to access records. And at least 700 employees from the CDC have been fired since Friday, according to a source, and those cuts include training programs. Two heads of two major parts of a government have also resigned, the Postmaster General and the head of the FDA.
In addition, the top criminal prosecutor in the Washington, D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office has resigned. Sources say that Denise Chung, she quit today after declining a request to open a grand jury investigation into funding given to the Environmental Protection Agency by the Biden administration. Sources say that she refused the order and resigned in part because she believed there wasn't sufficient evidence yet. Chung sent an office-wide farewell message, but she did not publicly indicate her reason for leaving. The Department of Justice is declining to comment.